Hey guys, it is Master Sparks. Welcome back to my channel. I'm super stoked because today I am going to go to like a yoga class that is on the pier, like on the docks right down by the ocean with a new friend from work. So I'm super excited about that. Super stoked. And so that's what I'm doing later today. Yesterday it was like scorching hot outside all day long. I was like a sloth, it was so hot. And then today it actually was freezing cold. It was like some nice breezy air conditioning coming into our apartment from outside this morning. So it should be nice to do yoga out there on the dock where it's not in the blistering sun. Anyway, so in today's story, I'm going to be talking about a crazy story of when I dropped my romantic lead partner in front of an audience of like 900 people. Yeah, okay, so this dates back to my very first time having like a big lead role in a show, and we were doing Anything Goes. And if you're not familiar with Anything Goes, it is a big tap musical that takes place in the 1930s aboard, I think, the ship is called the SS Enterprise. Think of like a big fancy boat like the Titanic. And it was my very first big romantic lead. So I had never had a giant lead role in a show before, so I was super excited, super stoked, living my best life, but also like a panicked mess on the daily. So basically, to start off with, the star of the show, in my eyes, I think basically anybody would agree with this, is Reno Sweeney. And Reno Sweeney is this night singer turned like criminal, and she is aboard the ship, and she is constantly flirting with me, Billy, and I have like this weird like friendish love triangle between like Reno and Hope, who is the romantic lead. So Billy, the romantic lead, which is me, and Hope, the other romantic lead, yeah, and then Reno, who is the star of the show. So, both of these girls in real life are like the strongest, most badass, dominant kind of like, I'm gonna get what I want kind of women. Both of the stars that I'm working with. And so I am the kind of person that's like, yay, dream big, big goals, happy faces, but I am like a lighthearted fairy when it comes to, I don't know, being aggressively pursuing goals. So like, I was always like a meek little mouse working with those two. And so it was like scary, and I was always anxious and nervous working with them, but at the same time, they were like the best partners to work with because they were gonna do their part and it was gonna be perfect, and there was no way that I was gonna hold them back, kind of thing. So they were great partners to work with. If you're gonna work with one of those two, you're gonna do an amazing job because there's no way that you're not, basically. So they're kind of scary to work with. That's just gonna premise the show with that. So, or this video. So we do all of our rehearsals. That's how things go all the time. They're always like correcting me or like wanting to say after to make sure that we go over things like 100 times and it's perfect. And I'm like a perfectionist, so that is great. But with them, I'm also like afraid to do anything wrong. So just gonna premise the story with that. So we go through our rehearsal process, and then it comes to, I think it was our very last dress rehearsal before opening night. And so at our very last dress rehearsal before opening night, I literally had like a global meltdown. Like, I was not ready. I feel like I forgot absolutely everything. And I'm the kind of person that takes me like the entire period of the rehearsal to memorize all of my lines, even all of my words to like the songs and all of the dance steps. But I'm going to constantly like be improving on my character as a whole and like the role as a whole from every rehearsal to the next. But I'm not the kind of person that's like, okay, I got all the words done, I got all the lines done, and then it's just like done from the first day and they don't make any improvements. I'm not that kind of person. But it does take me like the entire rehearsal process to get everything down. So we are there at like our last dress rehearsal before the show, and we have like a student audience at this time, but only just like a couple people that were in like the faculty or like some parents that were watching and stuff like that. And so I'm in like my very first scene, and I'm like looking out into into the audience as the scene changes and the lights are going down, and I'm like, oh my god, am I supposed to be on stage? What's going on? Am I in the next scene? Like, I totally blanked. And I remember talking to my best friend afterwards, and she's like, oh my god, did you forget what you were doing at this exact point? And I was like, yes, I did. I totally blanked out. I had no idea what I was doing. And for some reason, like, the lights came on and somebody started speaking their line, and I was like, whew, thank goodness I'm supposed to be on stage, like, front and center, because I literally didn't move. Like, I didn't know what to do. And so that's what happens when you're a nervous wreck. Anyways, that scene I had never, like, forgot before. It was just, like, because I was on stage doing the dress rehearsal that I, like, freaked out. And so basically I forget a bunch of lines throughout this run. I remember, like, singing a whole bunch of lines wrong in, like, some other scenes. And I'm, like, you know, just freaking the F out. And so I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this. And then we finished this dress rehearsal, and I ran down to the green room, and I literally just, like, burst out crying, and I remember bawling my absolute face off. And I don't know if I'd ever cried like this in literally years, but especially not around anybody that was in my cast or anybody that I know. So I'm, like, epic, ugly crying, like, full mental breakdown in the green room, like, oh my god, I can't do this, I can't go on tomorrow, like, there's no way that I can do the show, like, Ryan, can you just play both roles? Ryan was, what's it called? Like, we were double cast, we both played that show, so it was, like, alternating nights. He would play Billy, and then I would play Billy. So I was like, please just go on and do my role, like, I can't do it, like, just complete mess. And I was so afraid, still even at this point, of, like, letting down my choreographer, letting down the director and the choreographer. This was her, like, this was her directorial debut. She'd always been, like, a choreographer before that, so this show was, like, her name was on my back and all that. I had to be perfect. And so also with having these two girls that were playing my Reno and Hope that were, like, they were stars. Like, both of these women are stars. Shout out to Jessica Pearson and the East Wind. She's literally, like, an independent musician, songwriter, and traveling and touring the world and doing that kind of thing. So you should check her out. Shout out if you want to. And yeah, it's called Jessica Pearson and the East Wind. But yeah, these girls are both forces to be reckoned with, and I didn't want to let them down, and I was, to be quite honest, afraid to mess up or let them down. And so I have this full mental breakdown. The next day is opening night. I come back, I am recharged, I'm like, okay, I've tried to give myself, like, the pep talk, I'm like, I'm ready to do this. And then this next moment is very important. So we do our entire warm-ups, like everybody goes on stage as a whole cast, and we do, like, a vocal warm-up and a dance warm-up, like, in the middle of our costuming and getting ready to go on for the show. And so we did that warm-up, and then while I was in the wings heading back down to my dressing room, the girl that plays, the woman that plays Hope, my romantic lead partner that this story leads to, she takes me aside and was like, I just wanted to let you know that whatever happens, that this is just a show, like, everything is going to be okay. I just want you to do your absolute best, and just know that whatever happens, it doesn't matter. I just want you to do your very best. And this is the first time she'd ever talked to me like this before. Like, up until this moment, I literally was like, oh my god, I can't, like, make a mistake. I need to be perfect. I can't let her down. If I was ever, like, off a step or, like, saying a wrong word or something in rehearsal, she'd be like, not literally, but, like, she was ready to come for me. And so, like, I always felt like, oh my god, I can't let her down. And so she gave me this speech, literally this talk, like, heart to heart in the wings, and then this is on opening night. And so everything runs smoothly, like, I don't screw up anything. The night the same spot where there was, like, that transition and I blacked out, like, that's what dress rehearsal was for, so we could iron out that little bump in the road so that it didn't happen on opening night. That's what dress rehearsals are for, ladies and gentlemen. And so that was all good. Everything went well. I did sing some lyrics in You're the Top wrong, and I remember doing, like, it was like I switched two verses, and I remember thinking for a split second while I was on stage something didn't come out. Something was like not right there, but everything sounded right, and it was like the exact same melodies, and the audience didn't notice anything. I didn't even notice what I did wrong at the time. I was like, I just know something did wrong, but the show must go on, so I just kept going. Like, I couldn't let the audience know that I screwed up anything, and nobody noticed. And so I asked Jess after we got off stage, I was like, what did I screw up there? And she's like, oh, you just missed, like, or you messed up the two verses, like switched them around. But anyways, I messed up that on opening night, but nobody noticed. I didn't even know what went wrong, but all that went fine. Everything else goes fine. We get to the big moment of the show. Okay, so basically there comes like the giant classic musical theater waltz dance between me and Hope. And basically, like, the full dance cast is on stage, and they're all waltzing around. And I wish that I wish my computer wasn't broken right now, because I literally have like a clip of this that I could just like toss in right here and show you guys what it looked like on stage live. But basically, yeah, everybody's on stage partnered, and they're doing waltzes, and it's beautiful, and there's like a beautiful light show going on, and I am in the middle of the stage with Hope, and we are doing this beautiful classic Broadway musical theater waltz, and at the end of this, I am supposed to like duck all the way down and literally not just grab Hope, but throw her into the air. So it's like supposed to be one of those big, beautiful tosses, and then I'm supposed to catch her from midair, like around her thighs. Well, it's not really supposed to be, yeah, I guess around her thighs, like right above her knees. I'm supposed to wrap and catch her. And then we're supposed to turn around, and it's this like big, beautiful lift, and everybody is dancing around us, if that can give you like kind of a visual of what it's supposed to look like. So I pick up Hope in the middle of this dancing round. I throw her, I go to catch her, but because the dress she is wearing, we'd literally practiced this so many times, but we never got to practice it in the actual dress, except for the dress rehearsal. That was the only time we ever got to do it in the actual dress. And both of us were like freaking out about this forever. But in the dress rehearsal, the lift went perfect. Let me just emphasize that. So everything else in the dress rehearsal was like a crying shame, to the point that I was a blubbering, crying mess. But the lift went perfect. So on opening night, we're still a little bit nervous, but I'm like, okay, it's gonna go fine. Allison gave me this great pep talk. Allison is Hope. Allison is the woman actor that played Hope. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyways, she gave me this beautiful pep talk. Everything's going to be fine. So, comes the lift. I toss her up. I go to catch her. She literally slides straight through my arms and hits the floor nonetheless. I literally, like, turn around, like, hugging her. We're both like, what the fuck? With, like, giant smiles on our face. And we kept turning around, but I'm literally just, like, holding on to her body. But, like, she's not in the air. And so we go off stage, and like literally the most serious person who I thought was going to like literally eat my flesh for this is like, oh no, that's okay. It's just a show. Like we rehearse and we just do our best, but like what happens on stage happens on stage. Like that's the reality and the life of working as an actor in musical theater. And I was like, what? Like, literally, I was not expecting that kind of response from somebody that is literally such a perfectionist. And she was amazing at literally everything, because she worked so hard and rehearsed so hard to make sure that everything that she did was perfect and that she could put her best foot forward all the time. But that being said, to have somebody like that have this refreshing attitude that like, no, of course, you just put in the work, you work your hardest, and you try to be perfect, of course, but if anything happens, that's just the life of theater. You just want to go out there and have fun. And I'm like, so that moment kind of like changed my life when it comes to theater, and changed how I viewed everything, because before that, I used to be like so afraid all the time of messing up, of screwing up anything, and I still have like a bunch of stage fright, and I'm still afraid to make mistakes and to let anybody down. But at the end of the day, it's really not that important. Mistakes happen. And just knowing that at the end of the day, it's just about making sure that you work your hardest and do your best. And if you screw up, you screw up. You're probably going to have another chance. We had another chance. We went on for another night, for another performance, and the lift went beautiful. And they caught it on tape, and it was perfect. So we got our redemption. But at the end of the day, everything was fine. I lived. My hope, Allison did not eat me. I survived. And so I guess that was the message that I wanted to share with you guys about this story, is that yes, it is important to put your best foot forward and to always work your hardest and try not to let people down if their name is on the line and you're all working together. But at the end of the day, people are going to understand mistakes happen, and people just want you, especially when you're working in musical theater or like when you are auditioning, when they're casting for a show, they really just want you to do your best, and they really, really need you to do your best and to just be comfortable and confident, because if you can be comfortable and confident and put your best foot forward and just do your best, I don't know why I'm preaching right now, but that's when they can see you shine and maybe potentially get what they want. And they're looking for somebody that can shine. And so they're always hoping, like when you walk into the casting room, especially like for an audition, they're not looking at you and being like, I hope that this guy fails, or I hope that this girl screws up her song so we can laugh at her, ha ha ha. Like, no, they really want the next person that comes in the door to be that magical person that was the right person for the role, so that their job for the day is done and they can go home. But like, it's so true, and that's like the biggest message that I hope can influence your confidence and your self-esteem and settle your nerves and just help you feel excited about auditions and casting instead of being nervous, is because they always just want you to do your very best. So just go in there and do your very best, because nobody wants you to fail, and you shouldn't want you to fail either. Anyways, so that is the end of this story. If you liked it, I hope you give this video a thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more story times like this, because I think I'm just going to be doing a bunch more story times in the future for now. And as always, make sure to be weird, be wild, and stay sparkly, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Okay, I love you.